Hey guys, Jordan here. In this video, I'm gonna be giving my thoughts about this lens right here for real estate photography. And this is the Tamron 17 to 28 millimeter f2.8. So let's get into it. All right, so if you are just barely finding my channel, this channel is all about real estate photography. So if this is a subject that you're interested in, consider subscribing because we consistently put out content all about that subject. But before anything else, let's get into the lens here. So we got this Tamron, and I recently got it like a week or so ago. When I first paired it up to my camera, I wasn't that impressed with it. It was having issues focusing, right? But then I put it on another body and I had no problems, and I put it back on the camera I was using it on and I had no problems. I do like the build quality of this. I do wish it had an autofocus, manual focus switch on it, like a lot of lenses do. But I will tell you, for real estate photography, I didn't think that I was gonna think this way, but this is a 17 to 28 millimeter lens, and I'm used to shooting with the 16 to 35 millimeter Sony lens. And so when you look at the low end, which is important for real estate photography to go as wide as possible, not as wide as possible, but as wide as you need to in a room, I didn't think I would care much about a 1 millimeter focal length difference, right? But when I was using this, I was like, oh my gosh, the room feels like squeezed in. I can't get wide enough. Then I put on and went the other lens on and went to 16 millimeter, and I was like, really, that 1 millimeter did make a pretty big difference, you know, especially if you're shooting in confined areas. I was shooting in a pretty big room with this lens, so you can get by with this lens. In my opinion, I prefer a wider lens. Like I have the 12 to 24 millimeter, and for some photos, if I'm using that one, I'll go all the way to 14 millimeter, depending on the room. With the regular 16 to 35 Sony lenses, you know, there are times where I want to go wider. It's just even more of that with this lens. Now you can get by with this lens, right? But in my opinion, it's not that much more, it's not saving that much money over the 16, so I'd probably opt for 16 to 35 f4 Zeiss lens, or the 16 to 35 Sony G Master. That one is more expensive. That one's also a 2.8. This one is a 2.8, so this one would do well with video in low light. You know, typically you're zooming in even further for video, so I think for me, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this lens for real estate photography. It definitely will work. It's not that bad of a lens. I just think you're gonna be wishing you spent an extra $100 to get a little bit of a wider lens. In my opinion, at least that's my initial impressions. Now I'm gonna be shooting with this one more, so I'll let you know if my opinion changes, but those are my initial thoughts on the Tamron 17 to 28 f2.8 lens. So anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. If you got value out of it, hit the like button, leave a comment if you have questions, and we'll see you guys on the next one.